Before this video starts, I just want to say thank you to Dana Terrace for shouting out me and other creators for making content about the Owl House and saying something I said in the Hootie Hole theory was right. Um, let's figure out what. So thank you, Dana Terrace. Thank you, everybody in the Owl House cast and crew, everybody who worked on such a beautiful and essential show. And to Morgan Terry and Elijah for not letting me put myself down. Anyway, enjoy me not knowing that Dana Terrace was going to acknowledge me in like a week and change.
Copyright disclaimer.
Loose puts literal... Man, I can't read my own writing. Loose puts literal Band-Aid on problem. Nailed it. That's a thanks to them note. Oh, come on, Bill. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Bill. Today I wanted to do a video breaking down a lot of my thoughts and a little bit more of an in-depth review on the finale of The Owl House, Watching and Dreaming, Season 3, Episode 3. I will be referencing Thanks to Them and For the Future a little bit now that Disney has the compilation Season 3 video on YouTube. Go check it out. Not a sponsor or anything, but watching more stuff could help encourage more content in the future. Who knows? I don't know. And I know a lot of people would be torn on that concept. I go back and forth on it a lot. Do I continue to support the shows I want on a platform in the hopes that they gear more towards that? The Last of Us or Infinity Train being big examples when I could watch Infinity Train. Break it up by watching one of my videos or Morgan's or Elijah's, somebody's, you know? Do a little rewatch. My videos will still be up, playlist in the description. And speaking of, thank you to everybody who encouraged me to check out this show, to the team for making and creating the show, to Dana Terrace for fighting so hard for this show to give us what we got. And I wouldn't have found it without people going, there's a bird show on Disney Channel. And I went, okay, we'll see. And then, oh God, this is the most beautiful thing. I need to keep talking about this. So thank you. But yeah. Let's dive in, shall we? Like and subscribe and ring the bell and all that good stuff. I stream twice a week on my gaming channel, Bill Chill Gaming. I'm playing Breath of the Wild over there right now, gearing up for Tears of the Kingdom. Merch store in the description of thethirdbill.com. You can pick up a Hootie Hole Theory shirt if you want. And speaking of all the things I have linked in the description, all things you can do to support me, don't forget to support yourself and others. There's a link, just like all my videos and streams, in the description to a card. They'll send you to resources for social awareness and education, mental health and crisis lines, Trevor Project resources, things like that. Should you or someone you know need them. I'm still going to have all the problems that I have that are out of the team's control. More, please. Give us more time to breathe. Give us more time with characters. Terra Snapdragon got more scenes and dialogue in Season 3 than Hootie. They still managed to finish the story in a cohesive, entertaining, fun, meaningful way, despite all these limitations and sacrifices that had to be made. I said it before in my previous video, the feeling is definitely mutual. They did not sit there and go, you know what would help our story? Doing it in less episodes. I think we're up to the challenge, team. It was not their decision. I do have those feelings. I want to always acknowledge those feelings, but also I don't blame the show or anyone involved, except the person whose decision was to go, can ya? And so anyway, looking back on Season 3 as a whole, I really enjoy seeing the curvature of the arc Luce goes on. And I think it's very satisfying to start in the human world, a place that should feel familiar to Luce. It's where she grew up. It's where she spent most of her time. She's only been in the Boiling Isles for about a year, but that feeling of disconnect from a place where she belongs, a part of herself, something that we will see come to fruition in the finale. The fantasy would be staying, ironically, in the human realm, whereas the reality is change. Literally nothing is the same. It's amazing to see the story flipped upside down in a familiar setting. I've never been to Connecticut, but I've heard of it. I collected that quarter with my grandpa as a kid. Also, I want to give a little shout out to the first of many characters whose time was minimized for the sake of editing. V had a really awesome, subtle arc. I never really thought about it before until watching everything as a whole. When V gets caught in a trap and gets like stressed out and scared, there's like a full transformation, but then she can't, like her ears don't come back and like little things on her face, but the ears have to be covered. And then there was something about keeping that and adapting it into her hair in her human form and Thanks to Them, tied with with eventually conceding we need to go to the museum and kind of facing her fears in that way. It's really subtle, but I appreciate like working with your anxiety with the hair and the ears. It just has this undercurrent of growth and healing. It was really touching to kind of connect all those things. It would have been great to have been there for such big moments, but I wanted to give that little shout out, and I have a couple more. Ironically, that's also why Jacob was fired, and I never really gave that a meta joke lens until now, that he was fired for editing the exhibits, and I'm like, oh, Jacob was fired for editing, was he? I don't know why. That just made me laugh. Maybe I need to laugh about it. Finishing the show also gave me a nice appreciation for the logo changes, especially in Thanks to Them. Like it's like a jack-o'-lantern, right? It's an orange light, flickering light, like losing hope or losing your connection to the Boiling Isles, or losing her way. I don't know. It gave me more of an appreciation for that. And speaking of Thanks to Them, the English teacher really does set you up for the ending Luce is going to receive, but isn't ready to grant or accept for herself. When Luce talks about wishing maybe the hero shouldn't have even been born, and like projecting her own things onto it, and the introduction of the evil Lucy who looks like a version of Luce, dressed like Luce. The palisman just looks like an evil egg palisman. We see a lot of how Luce starts to project her insecurities, her fears into media. It's one more way of her trying to throw away the weirdness, detach from this whole side of herself. It's such a great place to start in, knowing where we're going to go, worrying that there's a limitation to the love that she has from her family, from Amity, from her friends. It was effective before. It's just more effective now. Also, there's an L+A on her desk. I really love. Oh yeah, Rip, Masha, and V plot. We got the blush. There's a picture of them getting coffee. Yeah, it just would have been nice to see. And speaking of things we didn't get to see, if something changed in the post HOOT on Instagram before this video comes up, let me know in the comments. Be nice. I was both right and wrong, which is my favorite thing. Best of both things. I still think there's a lot more to the significance of owls. The stopper for the blood vial was an owl. Maybe Edelin or Caleb saw King's dad at one point. I haven't been given all the pieces that one would have initially wanted me to have, or us to have, right? I still really love Gus debunking the Inquisitor of the witch hunt play. I still would have really loved to have seen Gus traverse human history, especially with the witch trial stuff coming up. Also, Rip Jacob plot. I feel like that would have been really interesting, and I like to think it would have been Gus to have taken on Jacob, someone who wants to learn about the human world, battle someone who's, all this warped information and false ideologies of what a witch is, and they're from Mars and they're trying to take our teeth. I think that's what that scene was kind of alluding to. That's just me. I feel like there should have been and would have been a lot more Gus. Teehee, thanks to them, parentheses, Masha. We got a little lore. Maybe I would have savored it more if I had known that Masha's little TLDR about Evelyn and Caleb was the last bit of like actual dialogue concerning that backstory. Again, I'm asking for time. There was something about that wrap up that's like really funny the first time, so I'm like, haha, surely we'll have time. Surely we'll know more. Nope, that's about it. I still really love metatextually her name was Evelyn, and like, aha. I really like those big moments, and then the TLDR, it sounds like he got a hot witch girlfriend and the little brother got jealous. Like, I really loved that. It just, now I'm like, yeah, you really wanted us to like enjoy this single mozzarella stick because we're not getting a full basket. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Enjoy this one potato chip. You can't have the bag. I don't know why I went for food. There's something so lacking, but still like, savor the bite, savor the bite. As bummed as I still am that Hunter wasn't a part of the final fight with Bellows directly, he does say that he never wants to step foot in the throne room again. He wants to move on. I think the inner struggle, the possession moment, that final fight is still very serviceable. I just kind of wanted him to be there. And there's also a part of me that's like, he's been through enough violence. That one's really hard for me still. His moment of standing up to Bellows, regaining control, regaining agency, the additional scars that become visible, encapsulating not only this moment, but the history of scars, visual and underneath, that he's endured from him. I still think it's incredibly effective. It does make me want another moment, because I'm like, he was really far away, and I'm like, but he learned to like spam dash. He could have just pew pew pew, but now it's just Bill's bad fan fiction. It's still very satisfying, and then the focus for Hunter afterwards being the aftermath of that and for the future, both in losing Flapjack as well as, you know, who am I now? Paralleled really nicely with Willow bottling it all up. Hunter's trying to figure out what to release, what he's feeling first, what he's going through. He's pushing people away that he feels very close to and doesn't know how to express it. It's a very healing arc. I just want to see Hunter in that final found better place with his Flapjack power come up with the power of friendship and Flapjack. It really does create a beautiful segue into giving us Huntlow and the people who they are now complementing each other. And it's wonderfully illustrated in Willow's sort of plant breakdown. She's smothering and like wrapping and entwining herself in Gus and Hunter, and it's this beautiful physical manifestation of the smothering that can be felt from like, oh, let me fix it, and then, oh no, I made it worse, when Hunter's just like, I don't know what I'm going through right now. The two of them before those healing moments and for the future would not have been a couple I would have rooted for. Every time Hunter takes a step forward and like, I don't know how I feel yet, Willow's taking a step backward, and then vice versa. When Willow's feeling good, Hunter doesn't know how to balance both of those feelings, and we don't have time for illusions and red grass. We gotta go. It really brings them both into finally this meeting ground and then elevating both of them. As much as I want everybody's ships and dynamics and fandoms and fanfics to come true, I'm sad that it had to be Gus, but like, I just appreciate that not everybody had to be like coupled off and paired off. I don't know. I appreciate the delicacy that they've taken with all of their relationships, right? Ida and Rain being a really big one, which owl nuzzles are really cute. I really wish we'd gotten a Rada kiss. Luce in the epilogue has Amity's necklace. Ida's wearing Rain's earring. I just love those little details. So it was fun to see the exchange of jewelry. It's just a nice little nod of like, why didn't we get that? Ida has transformed in front of Rain at the very beginning of their relationship, turning into the Owl Beast, turning into Harpy Ida. Like, that's not going to scare Rain away. It was all psychological. It was all social stigmas pressed on by Ida onto herself, her mom, you know, society in general, and like the metaphor for the owl curse. I really love seeing it just kind of come to full fruition. It's seeing Ida trapped in that net, the Owl Beast and Ida combining their nightmares in a sense, because they can become one in a sense through Harpy Ida, the fear of being captured combined with the fear of not only being labeled as dangerous, but what if I embrace my father's forgiveness and then I do something to jeopardize that? It's interesting to see a different version of what Luz is going through with a different character, with a different history. Blaming yourself. She's saying that it's not her fault. It's still a fear. It's still a concern. What if I let my family back in? I let Lilith back in. What if she, in a sense, regresses to her old ways? When she starts to go through it as well and spends actual time with Ida at the Owl House, like seeing how Ida learns to make it manageable, and it's that regression to a season 1 Lilith and her mom kind of regressing as well. But then like, what if something else happens? What if it gets triggered again and I do lose control again? My whole family might turn on me. What if the people I love and trust stop loving me, stop trusting me? I always kind of wanted Ida's full circle moment of embracing that Luce and King are her family too. Sorry, it's a big topic for me. There's a lot of big topics for me in the show, but that one, I've always felt that storyline in other stories, but like this one just really stuck the landing for me. Seeing an adult struggle with that. I have a weird family, right? I have a blended family, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. My stepsisters are my sisters. My grandpa is my grandma's third husband and not my mom's biological dad, but he is my grandpa. I needed to see Ida stop saying Luce's real family or King's real family. And it's, oh, damn it. And it's wrapped up so nicely with Ida playing catch with King and Hootie's there. I'm skipping way ahead, but that's one of my favorite Easter eggs. But seeing how Luce has divided herself from her loved ones because she blames herself for something that is legitimately out of her control, that she didn't do with malicious intent, and that she's striving so hard to make right. Seeing Ida go through her version of that and seeing that fear of, what if I make another mistake? What if something else happens out of my control? What if my family, these fragile, vulnerable bridges that we're building and rebuilding again, what if they break? I wish we'd gotten a lot more. It's all felt right there when you look for it. And that's kind of my favorite thing about this finale is it's the subtext everywhere. Harpy Lilith. We all wanted to see it. Here it is, yay. And then subtext subtextually, if you want to dig a little deeper, Ida became Harpy Ida from coming to terms with the owl curse. Lilith did the same thing. We just didn't get to see it. So it also gives you peace of not only, oh, thank God I can draw you or cosplay you or just see this visual. And there's also the subtext if you want to dig for it like I do. Lilith found peace. It's society's fault. It's the Emperor's Coven's fault. I would even argue the Emperor knew to do these things to pit sister against sister. You can even argue that far if you want to go that deep, and I'd love to in a different video one day. God, where was I? Sorry. That was a journey. And then seeing King's nightmare as well. The fear, yes, of being hunted, of being trapped, but it's the betrayal. He finally felt like he belonged. Everyone here looks like me. This community is reaching out to me. I feel accepted. I feel I belong. Even in the episode, he has a hard time coming to terms with that. Something he himself points out. No one wants to believe that they've been following a lie, and it's a reality he has to face. These people want the dead opposite of what he initially thought. It's that moment of isolation and betrayal. He's just standing there with Bill. As much as I'm not a fan of the line, "Bill, you crazy jerk," that feeling of isolation, of not belonging, of being tricked, of being trapped. All of them go through that in their own way, but it's also, those are the things that brought them together to make this owl family. Luce being in their life got them to snap out of it or move away from those thoughts or start to work on those pains, on those struggles. Screw it, I'm just gonna skip ahead. And then seeing that all physically manifested in Titan Luce. We can sit here and joke about how we've seen the fake out death meeting your god, quote unquote, but the return, not only to King and Ida not lose Luce, I'm gonna say it right. I got this. Not only did Ida and King not lose Luce, now she briefly has traits reminiscent of them. She has horns like King. She kind of looks like a Titan. She looks like a witch. She can do spells and do the circle, and Ida helps her. I'm okay. It's just this celebration of their found family, and through saving the day and magic and fun, showcasing how they connect and bond internally, externally through magic. A piece of them has influenced you, or a piece of you has influenced them. It's those little moments you have to kind of strive for to feel those connections. It just really solidifies that mutual feeling that, like, sometimes you can deny yourself or doubt or worry isn't there. It's just really beautiful to see that literal manifestation of found family. Seeing Luce be a Titan witch human, seeing her fly, seeing her first spell lesson. Something that, for lack of better words, a normal witch in the Boiling Isles would have had. You know what I mean? Like, there's something really special about that. It's a temporary moment, but like, that bond will still always be there. That memory will still always be there. Doing the Titan scream with King even is so lovely and beautiful. And then Rain joining in, I'm like, cool, well, now the little household is complete. Like, let's go, gamers. Like, there's something just really exciting about Rain being there. They're doing their whistle, and it looks so much like King's scream, and I never made that connection before. And it's like, oh, like, they both do auditory base attack magic, like adopt Rada for life, damn it. Like, it's a nice little parent moment. It's just so subtextual and just there for you if you want to find it. Or you can just go, yay, Rain and King defend, lose, go burr. Like, you could do anything you want. You don't have to dig that deep, but it's there if you want to. And I'm one of those people who want to, kind of need to at times. God, I jumped ahead a lot, but I needed to talk about that. It's the Owl House wrapped up in one. It's the weirdos sticking together. Sometimes it sucked feeling like I was part of a weird family. And I'd love to have the story and feeling sooner. I appreciate getting that feeling at all. My grandpa would have loved the Owl House, man. I also found it really interesting. I also think the archivists are like some sort of weird faction of collectors. It's interesting how, like, there's no distinction between collector magic and archivist magic. It makes me wonder if at some point they were like, man, my parents are collectors, or collectors are for babies. I'm an archivist. I don't collect, I archive. I found that really interesting, and I wish I could have had more. I'm just trying to focus on something that is going to help me calm down. Archivists are still collectors. Click. You can't sit at our table unless you archive. Like, I don't know why. It just makes me laugh. I wish we had gotten more of everything. I like how quickly we were able to kind of sum up the collector does not understand mortality. And it's something that is set up in What Do Mortals Eat? And it's a fun little joke and a great moment. The pizza bagels line is very funny. I just never gave that moment a lot of weight until you don't grasp the concept of mortality. I figured once I got a better look at the portraits, I wasn't quite sure how to feel about the collector until we got the rest of that information. I think that's kind of the point. And to kind of complete the toys metaphor of it all, one of the things that kept everybody safe from The Last of Us Calamity Zelda goopy is that he put his toys away in the tiara, in the archive. Interesting that it's called the archive. Keeping all the people up in the crown actually helped. And then his Spider-Man, great power comes great responsibility little moment. I really loved that. I love how the collector became a conduit for the audience. It's literally the leads of the Owl House, these characters we've learned to relate to, learn from, and grow from all these stories, then reach out to a character and go, let us show you some of our stories. Maybe this will help you understand something more. And it just feels metatextually like this is what we want our story to have done. Look at the neat pictures, the interesting settings, the fun sports. See how these characters, make mistakes, learn, and grow, and hoping that these stories influence you in a positive, helpful way. And here's something that, have your own takeaways and stuff. I'm always going to advocate for a positive message in a good story as objectively as I can. I can't tell if it's a joke or not, but I've seen a lot of people compare this to Steven Universe. So I just want to say, to me, I feel like the Owl House yes-anded and continued the thought of Steven Universe in a way Steven Universe couldn't. The whole Diamond story is wrapped up in the Collector. Collector has committed many atrocities and crimes as well, things that they did and didn't understand, but then forwarding that message of kindness and forgiveness and giving Bellows a hug, reaffirming to the Collector, your heart was in the right place, you did good, but sometimes it will be more complicated than this. It furthers the conversation. I've seen a lot of people try to, wow, they really stuck it to Steven Universe, and I'm like, no, they added to that conversation. They had the opportunity to expand on it further. Not for nothing, I want to stick on the point of the Owl House, but if one of the Diamonds, any of them, had done what Philip did, the same result would have come to be. That was always my understanding. It wasn't go keep doing what you want, we're all besties now, and that's a point that's driven in the Epilogue series. But anyway, I appreciate expanding on that concept. Kindness and forgiveness, yes, but also there exists situations and circumstances where that situation might not call for it, or that person doesn't want to try kindness and forgiveness, or won't give any back. It's the final lesson of the Collector, because also the Collector makes the mature decision to not stay and play, but to go, and doesn't ask for Francois again, but is rather given Francois. It's a kindness that's extended and forgiveness that's given. I liked trying to give that to Bellows and illustrating no, and then illustrating further when he turns back into Philip. It is like, oh, I also was cursed. How crazy. You wouldn't punch old Unky Bellows on his birthday, would you? But seeing him try one more time, before you even get into the amalgamation of several atrocities in our history as human beings that he represents subtextually, he's still trying to lie and worm his way out to the bitter end. No accountability, nothing. And the Titan even illustrates this too. He just wants to be the hero in this diluted story that he's warped and told himself. I really like that. It's something I've always really loved about comparing Bellows to Luce. To continue the metaphor of Bellows' subtext, Luce showed up with a book and was like, no, this book tells me how all of you should be and should not be behaving and should not do. She easily could have gone I want my fantasy in this reality. And she didn't. She's not chosen. She's not destined. She's just a good person. I've also seen a lot of people in my comments saying the Titan gave Luce the light glyph. I still don't think so. I think she found it on her own through the video that she took. I still like the metaphor of, some people do like, watching a video and being able to pause it and rewind it, or an audio recording over actually writing notes. It's a different way of taking in information to learn. I liked that metaphor in the episode. I always took it as the Titan was impressed that Luce found one on her own and kept guiding her and nudging her in the right way with the ice glyph. And then yes, helped her when she needed help. That's just me. It's not important, because either way, she figured out how to do it all herself. She could have gone, that's weird, and moved on. It was still her determination, and then combining them, practicing, seeing. I loved that affirmation of like, choose yourself. Just like Ida says in episode 2, like, you're not a chosen one. If you wait to be chosen, you'll be waiting forever. I can give you this power, but you need to accept it. You seem like a good witch. I love that. I love that King's grandpa works at Nintendo. If you know, you know. I also appreciate that this does mean that King will lay his own egg and Titans aren't exactly extinct. King's gonna need another puberty lesson from Hootie. I think the Hootie hole theory was confirmed in its own special little way. Until I get direct confirmation, I'm fine kind of being in this limbo of mostly true or kind of true. Thank you to all the Hootie holers out there. But seeing Hootie in his eye, it could be a different Hootie. I think it's the same Hootie because we learned Hootie can take off his skin to wash it on the clothesline. I think that's a discarded Hootie skin. I wonder if the Titan's eye like became the portal or if it was just part of the attack that happened, because it's interesting that that's the side of the skull that's still intact on the island, is that same eye. There was still only one eye when we saw like the true Titan skeleton form. I wish we knew more, obviously. I feel like that would be the most fun to explore because we see that book that Amity gave to Lilith that looks like the real history of the Boiling Isles, the authorized Boiling Isles history, as opposed to the unauthorized one that talks about Bellows that we see in Youngblood Old Souls. I think that is Hootie, and I think he is connected. I don't know if he knows that. Yes, probably looking through windows and reflections and glass and things like that. I think the Titan could also see what was going on through Hootie. I like to think King's dad was there for his You Are You party, demon puberty class. I really like to think so. Even in the reflection of the pool when King looks down in his reflection and sees his owl family and misses everyone. It's a nice comforting notion of like, he was always watching King. Your parent was always there, even if they're lost. Freaking Ray. I still love. And then the Titan trappers started acting all weird. Like, yeah, you accidentally created this like bloodthirsty cult. Like, stop calling me God. I always keep forgetting that Bellows bit Rain. What a little asshole. Bellows biting baby. It's not very kind. Bellows boogers spreading like disease. I liked how it looked like this cancerous thing on the actual body. It looked like Calamity from Breath of the Wild. Like it's very frightening, and then it's very relieving to see the replacement of the red grass come back. Something that was drawn to our focus when Willow went, "Yay, red grass, we're home." I loved seeing the nature is healing of it all. I wish we'd gotten to see another rainstorm, the thunder strike. But the rock star smash of your violin. Bard magic is so cool. Music is magic, baby. I wish we gotten to see more thunder, lightning stuff. I said in my For the Future video that I liked that the Owl Beast took over out of concern for King when the Collector was blasting everyone and we got one of Hootie's last lines of the series. A lot of people said they saw it as like a response to having seen a Collector previously. And yeah, that always could be. I liked that it happened again though. When Luce disappeared, it happened again. And I still felt the same thing where it's like the Owl Beast and Harpy Ida both having a connection to Luce, and like the Owl Beast didn't turn around and start eating swings. The Owl Beast was in the fray, teamed up with King and all. I just like to picture the Owl Beast being like, that's my kid too. That's my little witchy owl baby. I will destroy you. You know what I mean? Like, I just like thinking that the Owl Beast is invested in the family as well. And then King doing the same. Again, kind of connecting them as well as unifying them in this like uncontrollable feeling. And the fact that King couldn't speak, but Ida could, it just showcased her experience with transforming and losing control. Harrowing to look at, and I loved it. And someone pointed out that King uses the new glyphs there. That's cool. I really like that we made new glyphs too, speaking of. And also something that I noticed, Luce opening her eyes and showing that she has glyph eyes now. It reminds me of seeing what we know now as the Titan's eye in every standard intro of the show. It kind of gave me that same ba-na-na-na-na. I didn't really make this connection before until I thought about the glyphs covering the Titan's hand. Like that's when like we really see the colors show up like they did in the Watching and Dreaming poster. That was a fun stream. Thanks everyone who hung out with me for that frantic mess. The colors are really standing out, and then we see that again surrounding and orbiting Luce. What a great way to still call back to the carving, for lack of a better word, that Bellows did without jeopardizing the flapjack tattoos at the end. They were like a force field protecting her as opposed to forcing the glyphs into his skin. It's interesting to, like, after he like went to Claire's and then forcing the glyphs to be a part of him, these glyphs just orbit around and protect Luce. I really liked that. I've seen a lot of different takes about the rain, the boiling rain at the end. And I always kind of saw it as because the collectors, should they meddle in our affair, I thought that was a collector thing. So then using all this Titan magic and the Titan leaving was making that go away. And it also works as like the cycle beginning anew, the first hint at new glyphs as we lose the old. I kind of took it as nature healing in a sense. I didn't think Luce summoned it. She could have, but I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of stepping away. I think it was nature in a sense, or the Titan. I felt like the final blow was Luce stepping away, leaving him to his own devices. I just think that visual is so powerful. And then also having your cake and eating it too, with then Rain and Ida and King just like beating down on that booger. I think it's in the hopes of stopping us from thinking, well, what if Bellows is still out there? No, he is not. If Hunter takes the wrong turn near the Titan's heart, just a little shot glass of goop can land on Hunter's shoulder. I think it was important to do that. I don't think Luce summoned the rain, but I think part of, again, choosing herself and who she was and being temporarily part Titan like that made her immune to the rain, but it was, again, a consequence to their actions. Bellows always being Bellows. Philip still trying to trick Luce, and like Luce is then going to do nothing. I love that she stood over him like Caleb's ghost did in For the Future. I wish we had gotten, if not Hunter, Caleb's ghost being there one more time or something. See Evelyn again. But I liked that Luce kind of stood almost in the same way that Caleb did and just taking that step back. There's something very satisfying about that, not feeding into the anger and hate of it all. I also love that King got to kind of see his dad, his parent, his papa. I also really liked, because I didn't notice this until I was making my thumbnails, the Titan leaving Luce was the same as Bellows leaving Hunter. I found that really interesting. Just obviously warm colors and like a good thing to have had in you temporarily and leave, but it was the shining light and then the whoo coming out of you, but instead of goop, it was like cool ghosty smoke. Hunter being possessed by Bellows is a complete loss of control and autonomy, whereas Luce had to choose herself. And the inverted parallels there are so strong. I loved how different those visuals were, but like based in the same fundamental glowy eyes, thing leaving. I kind of want to do something with the epilogue later, but I do want to touch on it a little bit here just because it's so detailed and it's just every frame that we can get information in. The epilogue was just so much and so stunning. I couldn't tell, and I don't think it matters either way, but I think the idea was that was Luce's 18th birthday, right? And they made it her quinceañera because she missed her quinceañera and she missed her other birthdays. And I really hope it was. And either way, we're celebrating Luce's quinceañera on this day too. But I like to think Luce's birthday is the day that they also removed sigils for the first time and learned how to do that. I love the idea, or the hinted possibility, that Luce's birthday is no more sigil day. I love the visuals of that. I think that's one of the most like important moments story-wise before we get into the beautiful character moments. Seeing that it took multiple coven heads, multiple coven tracks, healing coven, but like multi-track healing coven magic. I loved seeing everyone come together and like using the tech combined with it too, like healing tech. Like, this is nice. And then the almost kiss with Darius and Alador. I don't know. There's something about like processing and moving through this as a group, coming together through the divides to help out the people still struggling. It'd be easy for those, especially those who don't have sigils, to just go, not my problem. Sorry, you can only do one type of magic still. It was a very beautiful, ironic statement of unity. That's the real day of unity. We're the friends we made along the way. Also, yes, removing evil tattoos, so then we can have the nice tattoos. First time I got to this point without having like my face stained with my own waters. Hunter, Eber, and Darius make their own Owl House trio, which I kind of really love, but also I never really connected Hunter's love of wolves and then learning to stitch them on clothes is a combination, in a sense, of beast keeping and animals through Eber, as well as learning to sew and the stitch work from Darius. Hunter references the sewing lesson and thanks to them, and like we see it and feel it. I didn't fully connect. He loves wolves. Beastkeeping boy is also gonna be there. Like, I just really loved making that little connection. Wolves are beasts. Yes, wolves are animals, Bill. Good job. You didn't need those zoo books after all. I begged my grandparents to get me zoo books, and I never got them. Like and subscribe. I loved the undercurrent of like, Hunter will meet Willow's dads in a second, but let's have the reunion first. And also seeing the two dads kiss. Also, that is a nice setup as well for then Odalia being way over there. Yes, she's still around, but don't worry about that. I wish we'd gotten something about Odalia, but also I'm like, let us laugh. Let us have fun. She's not in the goodbye group photo, which is really funny. Kudos to the voice actor who's just gonna have to sit there and like, oh, I didn't get to do the bye. I'm sure they did, but you know what I mean. Oh, and then the photos. Dana's scholarship, like, come on. Grom 2 and Hootie and like Hootie attack, and then Hootie play catch with Ida and King. Like, it's so perfect. It's new adventures, and then also we see images of old ones and Magic Mom apple blood wine time. Putting away the Azura figurine, putting it away in a box, and then adding like Ida's jacket and her Grom crown. It's a nice little like, no, we're not throwing it away, but like we're keeping it in a safe spot, in a safe box, or even taking it with her. Who knows? I love seeing her new grown-up design. Again, the exchange of jewelry between characters was really just mwah. As much as I would love the full up treatment where we get every moment of their relationship, including who dies first, that was a nice little, in my opinion, my takeaway was it was a nice little Lumity forever, baby. Rada forever, baby. And then same thing with the tattoos. Like, yes, it took me a while to see that they were all Flapjack. I was too busy screaming and crying and being too freaked out at just seeing Willow with a tattoo. Like, it reminds me of the first time I saw my little sister with a tattoo. I'm like, you are a baby. It's a strange transition. While it's great to see the endless possibilities in front of a character at the end of a story, I think it's there for us. Draw the things you want to draw. Write fanfics and stuff. I will always advocate for more canonical things because I just want more Owl House content and for this team to keep telling more stories. But yay, what if Luce did go to a human school and commuted back to the Boiling Isles through a portal made by Hootie's tears? Like, I loved the freedom in it. Enjoy this moment, and also subtextually, here's so much you can take from it. Luce was able to flourish in both environments. Despite not having her glyphs, she was still able to keep learning magic, and now she has this whole new system of magic to develop and learn with King. And I think that's really beautiful, and I think it needed to kind of happen that way. The old glyphs needed to go. Me personally, I kind of also read it as these are glyphs that will never be touched by Bellows. That connection she still has to like giving him the light glyph and that blame there, and it's like now it's time to, you know, these things still happen. These situations, these traumas, these experiences are still part of you, and like learning to move through it, heal through it, and then here's a fresh start. I love the idea, if nothing else, that the new light glyph was not the glyph handed to Bellows. Bellows will not touch these glyphs. These are associated with new, with King, with Luce, with change. I just really loved that. It's a new world. I'm still such a big fan of like freaking kitty abomination dirigible sky steampunky look, almost looking Amity. I liked everyone's new look. Gus is my favorite new look, and seeing him get to do the things he wants to do and be an ambassador between the worlds and help the exchange program and stuff. It's a great launching point for people to imagine these things, theorize, write, draw, whatever. It gave us so many launching points for thoughts. Headmistress Ida will never not mess with me. Someone who is failed by the antiquated system as well as school system, getting to now lead this educational revolution of wild magic learning. And it's on the heart of the Titan, literally learning and dancing on Bellows' gravesite. Like, it's just perfect. What's the opposite of having a statue of you in the human world? It's just great in that way. The hook hand is so Ida, but then like her office door still has an owl on it and stuff. Seeing that Hootie's going to be the curator of the museum at the library, you know, preserving of the history and knowledge, and then finding that book. Again, I hope we get that book. We're removing the false histories that Bellows left. The palismen are returning. Hunter getting to carve palismen is just, it's so satisfying, and seeing little Waffle. Dana said something on Twitter, I think, like, it's kind of like Flapjacks. little sister. And I'm like, ow, thanks guys for telling me that fact. I've been editing Screaming and Crying all weekend, and then someone dropped that in my comments, and I'm like, that's so fantastic. I love it, and I love that it's, you know, while still honoring Flapjack's memory, the flowers around his gravesite, it's very reaching out, it's very healthy. The epitaph is really sweet. I just admired how great they took the themes of loss and pain and grieving. It's a beautiful thing, and it was very satisfying to see him also work with Clawthorns. I love seeing that, like, Willow's still doing flyer derby. I don't know, it's just nice to see Willow so confident and happy and thriving, and Bump retiring with a little hootie patch was very cute. There's so many little details. I want to talk about it later. I don't know, overall I feel like this finale just did a great way of wrapping it up, and I think it's just trying to exude as much hope and encouragement of celebration, love, and hoping that its legacy that it leaves for us, as much as the legacy that it could leave, is as positive and constructive and fulfilling as possible, and hopes that it leaves an impact. And it did, especially for me. And I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on the finale too. Like I said, this isn't my last Owl House video, so if there's like topics you want me to hit on in the future, things that you notice, things you agree with, things you want to see me talk about maybe in a stream or something, or another video, let me know in the comment section down below. This isn't goodbye. I'm still going to make more Owl House content. Remember to like and subscribe and ring the bell and all that good stuff. Links in the description, resources should you or someone you know need them. Come say hi on my gaming channel, Build Show Gaming, if you want. This isn't my last Owl House video, but I want to say thank you to everyone who encouraged me to watch it, who encouraged this content to be made. I've gotten to meet some wonderful people and make some great friends and talk about an amazing show. And again, thank you to everyone, not only who support me and support this show, but who made this show. So yeah, there you guys go. Those were some of my thoughts, most of my thoughts. If you want more, or you want me to dive deeper into certain characters or topics or things, let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think? Something that I missed? Do you agree? You can also just say hi. Hope to see you next time I upload or go live. Wear a mask if you go out. Be mindful of others. Remember to take care of yourselves, please.
Anyway, the third bill, you got it right.
Yay!
And I'm not gonna go be more specific than that. You'll have to figure that out. But you did mention in an offhand comment, and I was like, "Fuck!" Someone got it.